You guys are watching NFL Daily. I am Tom Downey. We haven't done it yet. It's overdue. There's a lot of college football stuff to hit instead. We're doing NFL playoff predictions today, and we'll look at the overall playoff picture. Then I'll make my guesses, and that's what they are, guesses, as to who will make the playoffs this year. First up, the AFC. 2 spots are open. The number 4 seed, which will go to the AFC South winner, and the final wild card spot. But we're also looking at where teams will end up being seeded. So that's where things currently stand. My projection, number 1 seed in the AFC, give me the Buffalo Bills. A little bit more of an aggressive projection here because I think they will beat the Bengals in what is going to be an awesome football game. Monday Night Football, must-watch game. Bills, Bengals, Patriots. The Bills win out. They win the number 1 seed. They've already clinched the division. They're fighting for the number 1 seed alongside the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, the Chiefs have a much easier schedule. That's why it's a bit more of an aggressive projection to have the Bills get that number 1 seed. Since Denver and the Raiders are bad, the Chiefs will win those games. I'll be pretty shocked if they don't win them both. So Bills, Chiefs, very much still fighting. The Bengals, by the way, are also still fighting for the number 1 seed and the NFC North title. They have not locked up anything beyond just a playoff spot at this point, although they are on the verge of doing so. I've got them going 12-5, beating the Bills, losing to the Bills, but beating the Ravens in NFL Week 18, which chance that Bengals-Ravens game gets flexed. I think there are some other ones, though, to keep an eye out for more here in a little bit. But first in the AFC, when it's all said and done, probably 2 weeks from now, or 2 games, I should say, it's not really 2 weeks, who gets the number 1 seed? Is it the Bills, the Bengals, or the Chiefs? Type in BUF for the Buffalo Bills, CIN for the Bengals, or KC for the Chiefs. This is going to be today's pinned comments on the video, so if an ad break just so happens to come here on YouTube, take advantage of it, head down there, and predict who you think gets the number 1 seed. We'll do it again next week, and if the Bengals beat the Bills, there will be some changes. But in the meantime, get those predictions in. Let's go to the number 4 seed. I've got the Jacksonville Jags completing an unbelievable comeback. We've been doing the playoff picture for weeks now, and I was like, we're like 3 weeks removed or a month removed from me saying on air, and it's a great freezing cold take, Tennessee will cruise to the AFC South again. They are not. They can still win it, but they have not cruised to it. The Titans have collapsed. Injury is a part of it. The Jags have gotten hot. Week 17 does not matter for either of these teams now, and it all comes down to Week 18. Jags, Titans. Winner clinches the AFC South, and I would bet that game ends up getting flexed to the Sunday Night Football matchup. Then you could also see maybe a Packers-Lions game, but division championship, guaranteed playoff spot, that's an easy one to put on in the primetime slot because it will matter the most no matter what. But AFC South, let me know in the comment section who you think wins it. JC for the Jags, TEN for the Titans. I've got the Chargers as the 5 seed. Now, they've already clinched the playoff spot. They've taken care of business the last 3 weeks. They were 6-6, hovering on maybe not. Then they've beaten the Ravens, Titans, and Colts in fashion all in a row. They've got the Rams and Broncos. I think they're going to win out. Those teams are not very good at all. I've got them as the 5 seed, which would, in theory, pit them up against the Jacksonville Jags, which Lawrence versus Herbert would be a very, very fun game. Remember, the Jags blew out the Chargers 38-10 the last time these two teams played, all the way back in Week 3. Today's show is made possible by our sportsbook partner, BetUS. Head over to chatsports.com/bet and use promo code NFL Daily. 125% deposit bonus when you put down at least $100 at chatsports.com/bet. Lots of things you can bet on, including the Super Bowl, and these just feel about right. Your heavy favorites, right? The Bills, the Chiefs, the Eagles. The Niners are still very much in the mix here as well. The Bengals at plus 50, and then the Cowboys somehow, some way down there, plus 1,000. I would be a little bit surprised if Dallas made it, but being 6th behind your heavier favorites, I do think makes quite a bit of sense. You can also bet on the AFC South. Jags are your betting favorite. They're minus 250. The Titans at plus 195 as well. Very curious how that all ends up playing out. I'm on board with the Jags. Go bet on any NFL game you want. chatsports.com/bet, promo code NFL Daily. The Ravens then are the 6th seed. They have clinched a playoff spot. I've got them beating Pittsburgh on Sunday Night Football, but losing to the Bengals in what hypothetically would be for the division crown. We'll see if that ends up being the case or not. Might be over at that point. I got the Bengals and the Bills, but that's just projection stuff. Ravens desperately need Lamar Jackson back, if not for this push, for the actual playoffs. Otherwise, I don't believe in Tyler Huntley, unfortunately. And I'll look at these 4 teams as the teams fighting at this point for that last spot. The Dolphins, Steelers, Jets, and Patriots. Who do you think ends up getting the final wild card spot? MIA for the Miami Dolphins, NYJ for the Jets, PIT for the Steelers, yes, they're still alive, or NE for the New England Patriots. Vote in the comments right now. I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins, and I'll be honest, I don't feel confident in this one either. I think they will lose this week against the Patriots. The Bills will then beat New England in Week 18. The Dolphins will beat a Jets team, also having their own quarterback issues. And Miami, who for a while looked like they were going to be fighting for the number 1 seed in the division crown, will just sneak in to the playoff race. But this is open. I've got 3 teams in at 8 and 9, a game behind the Dolphins, the Patriots, Jets, and Steelers. Tennessee completes a historic collapse and drops all the way down to 7 and 10, and they just miss out in the AFC South. That's my AFC projections. It's time now for the NFC. Before we get there, I want you guys to predict this year's Super Bowl matchup. Head down to the comments section and get those predictions in for me right now. Who do you think represents the NFC and the AFC in the Super Bowl? This is the NFC current playoff picture. The Eagles have clinched a playoff spot. They have not yet locked up the number 1 seed. Minnesota, San Francisco, Dallas all still fighting. 3 open spots, although one of them is going to be filled, but 2 of them could be filled after this week with the NFC South and Giants. We'll get to them, but first, predictions. I think that the Eagles will secure that number 1 seed. I've got them beating the Saints in Week 17 and sitting the starters and getting healthy in Week 18, knocking out New Orleans and locking up that number 1 playoff spot in the process. So Philly, I got them going 14-3 and getting that number 1 seed. Some changes to seeding, though, at least compared to things currently stand, coming in a moment. But we will break down the playoff picture every single week for you guys. We'll break down NFC individually, AFC individually, where it makes sense to do so. So make sure you guys are subscribed. Free videos every single day right here on Chat Sports and tons of NFL playoff picture coverage. I'm going to go with the Niners securing that number 2 seed. I've got them beating the Raiders and the Cardinals, games they should both win. It's the Brock Purdy show, but to be honest, I think Shanahan, the defense, that running game, everything about it makes life much easier on their QB. Niners get the 2 seed. Minnesota then falls to the 3 seed. I've got them, I'm sorry, producer Patrick, losing to the Packers, taking to the Bears in Week 18, which we'll show what the matchup would be against the Giants, by the way. So no potential 7 seed of who that could be. I'll see in a little bit, folks. Vikings, the 3 seed. And I've got the Bucs clinching the 4 seed and rallying to close out the year strong. 2 straight wins. If they beat Carolina this Sunday, they will clinch the NFC South. I think they will do that and then potentially kind of get a breather-ish in Week 18, but the Falcons are bad, so I think they win anyway. I've got the Cowboys as the number 5 seed here. Titans, Commanders. I think they will beat the Titans in what is basically a preseason game on Thursday Night Football. Tennessee is sitting everybody. The Commanders, Week 18, I'll have them lose. Commanders will be kind of still fighting for a playoff spot, I think, as low as those odds are. Dallas will kind of play their own preseason rest game. Dallas will, by that point, have already been locked into the 5 seed anyway because I got the Eagles beating the Saints. The Giants then get the number 6 seed. No surprise here. I think they'll beat the Colts and the Eagles, in large part because I think the Eagles are going to sit everybody, and I'm not sure the Giants will. I could see them trying to fighting a little bit harder than the Eagles will in a game that truly might not matter for either team when it's all said and done. But hey, they get to 10 wins in the end. That leaves one final wild card spot. Who will get the final spot? Lions, Seahawks, Packers, or Commanders? Remember, I've got Green Bay winning Week 17. I've got Washington winning Week 18, which would put those two teams in a good position. I will spoil this here a little bit. I don't have the Seahawks winning Week 17, which would basically knock them out. With that in mind, number 7 projection seed, the Packers. I've got them winning out because, of course, Aaron Rodgers does this, right? I had written them off. I had left them for dead. I thought there's no chance the Commanders are going to find a way to rally and make the playoff. I'm not thinking no way they're going to do that. Well, here the Packers are on the verge of making that happen. I've got them in 9-8, taking down the Lions in a winner secures a wild card berth game. I've got Seattle going 8-9. They get just left out. The Lions going 8-9 as they lose in Week 18. The Commanders lose Week 17 to the Browns. They go 8-1. Carolina goes 7-10 and just misses out on the playoff race, coming up short against Tampa. That is how I've got things going and being broken down in the NFC. It's going to get wild. We'll do it again next week, and good chance I got to make some more changes too.